Yeah, I actually don't even know where this expectation came from and why did I internalize it in my own life. That every year we'll do a bit more. Every day we will do a bit more. Every generation, every passing generation will do a bit more. And instead of kind of like this unconscious bias that this world has unlimited amount of things for us to do, enjoy, and use, um, and unlimited trashing space for whatever we want to do, enjoy, and use. Actually, this sense of I want to do more is actually it's a very nice sense, like this inner desire to do more. But because we don't know who to do it for, that we can get the reciprocation. Like, for example, if you're drinking water, after some time, it quenches your thirst, right? Then you stop drinking it. Nobody needs to tell you you've drunk too much water. You know that your thirst is gone, so you stop, right? Material life, so we have this desire to do more, we have this desire to enjoy more, but because we're not putting the water in the right space, we don't know who to do more for. What happens is we keep doing, and that thirst or that hunger is not quenched. So it's like, oh, we haven't done enough yet, I got to do more, then I got to do more, it's not over yet because I'm not feeling it yet. So we keep doing more, but because we're not pouring the water at the right place, it's just no satisfaction. So we keep going, going, going. We keep going on, going. This is not, it's not like some rocket science I'm kind of speaking, but rare are those souls who take a minute to stop and think like, oh, I've been doing this for a long time and I've been doing more and more and more. Why is it that I'm not satisfied? Like, when by drinking water, I'm immediately satisfied. When I'm hungry, if I eat food, I'm immediately nourished and satisfied. If I'm tired, I sleep, I am immediately refurbished or recovered, not refurbished, sorry, I'm not a piece of furniture. But anyways, so why is it that when I feel like I need to be happy and I need to do something more, and I do something, why is it that why is it not happening when everything else is happening? So this should make us question that, are we doing the right thing, or are we misunderstanding this idea of you should do more? Are we misapplying this idea to the wrong reality? Instead of thinking of, like I think Seth, you said, be happier, instead of applying it internally and trying to clean up our heart's desires, like I think I was chatting with James and I said to him, we can thousands of desires fulfilled, sorry, one desire satisfied is way more power, one desire quenched, one desire gotten rid of, or whatever, one desire satisfied, whatever you want to call it, like if you get rid of one desire, that is more powerful than trying to satisfy 1,000 desires. Because these desires, one or 1,000, you can never satisfy. But if you can get rid of like one desire through the process of purification, which is what yoga really is, then it's a great victory, because you're less that one burden. Otherwise, these desires are so powerful, they push us lifetime after lifetime. And any thoughts before I say something else from you guys? Like, just don't want to be on a monologue. Any questions, thoughts, insights?
Um, this just reminds me and makes me think of um, the analogy of we want to um, we cannot nourish a tree. We cannot help a tree grow by watering the leaves or watering the branches. We can water the leaves and the branches all that we want, but that's not going to actually nourish the tree and help it grow. But we
Right,
have to find the root, and once we water the root, automatically the branches and the trees grow.
right. That's a very good analogy, Vi. That's perfect analogy. Actually, that's exactly what the situation is, right? We're missing the root cause of our existence. So I guess that makes me want to jump into the topic, right into it, the hustle culture, and burnout, the silent epidemic. It's I see some statistics I saw, And from the, like, United States, not outside, I just want to share some with you. In the United States, gig workers made up to 36% of the workforce in 2022. So obviously it's higher in 2024. So almost half the country is, so it was 36%, assume a little bit rise, somewhere in the 40% range, right? Is our gig workers, meaning they don't have steady jobs, but they are running gigs, like maybe doing an Uber, maybe doing this, maybe doing that. Like Maya's husband was saying he was traveling somewhere, and the person who was driving the car had like this fancy Tesla. The Uber driver had a fancy Tesla and everything, and he was like, well, "What do you have such a fancy car? What are you doing this for?" He's like, "No, I was just gonna drive home, so I thought I'll do a sudden gig on the side. Like I was gonna drive anyway, so I'll take a passenger and make some money." So that's that. But there's people who are entire income is coming from gigs. That's a very high number. I've also heard the term being floated, fluid economy. It's because the burden's on you to manage your own expenses, income, tax, workload. If you find a job, it's your credit. If you don't find a job, it's your loss. It puts a lot of pressure on people to live in an economy like that, where you are responsible for creating the job, you are responsible for making sure you make profit, you are responsible for paying the bills. So, but it's all fueled off of, I'm an entrepreneur. It's all, you have that hat on, I'm a business owner, I'm a CEO. You just put a fancy name, a good package on it, print some business cards from Vistaprint, and you feel all empowered. But the bottom line is there's a supreme amount of instability you've taken on, and the entire burden of running the business, making it profitable, everything is on your shoulders. Someone might say that's freedom, because now I get to decide, I make the call on what I'm doing or not. But this is not me, but it's statistics that the pressure it's putting on people is immense. It's actually causing super burnout in people. And the gig economy is expected to grow 17% annually. So if it was 36% then, 17% of that is 0.6, about 1.2. So like somewhere around 40% now, something like that. Think about it, 2 or 3 years in a row if it's 17%. What do you think about that? Just living in a world where you do your gigs and you make your money in time, and there's no stable job, nothing. You don't have any skills to live off the land if you can't, there's no, like if you don't have these jobs, or if you don't have, as say for example, AI is increasing, and it's going to take a lot of jobs away. I was reading, I don't think I have the exact data on my head, but maybe someone else can correct me. There was reports, like comments from Elon Musk, comments from some other folks who were saying that maybe like 30 or 40%, like a very high number of jobs will be replaced through AI, and unemployment is going to be pretty high, which is why they're pushing the gig economy. And most people, when there was another report by this guy Peter Ducker, I can't remember his last name, but he's a marketing guru, and he was saying the main jobs that will remain as the AI takes over are things like nurses, waiters, waitresses, like those kind of service jobs, like actually fixing things for people, or priests and clergy, like those kind. There were like 6 or 7 categories. Most other things will be replaced by AI. So as all of this automation happens, and then you lose all of the jobs that are there, and then you're left with a stomach to feed, yours, and if you have someone dependent on you, then that person. How do you go about doing it when you have no skills on how to live off the land? Most people don't have any land. Most of the land is lying barren. It's so polluted that you can't grow anything on it. So how are we gonna go forward in a world like this? What do you think lies ahead? I know I'm throwing a lot of things in the mix there, but I want to get some thoughts. And I don't want us to live in a life where we are avoiding these realities, because ignorance is not bliss, it's actually foolishness. It's you're just living your whole life in ignorance is not very smart. You can see the beginning of Srimad Bhagavatam, Parikshit Maharaj, for not any fault of his, was cursed to die in 7 days. So he knew he had 7 days to live. And the saintly person who found out about it, he sent a message to Parikshit Maharaj and saying, like, you have 7 days, so start preparing. You're going to die in 7 days. You're cursed. And he was not a very old man. He was just in his 30s, not a very old man. And so he left everything and went to the bank of the holy rivers to meditate, and invited all the saintly people to ask what I should do with my life. I have only 7 days, so what should I do? This question is important to Parikshit Maharaj because he's going to die in 7 days. But if you think about it seriously enough, none of us know whether we have 7 days to go. He at least knew he had 7 days. We don't know that. So this question is actually equally important to all of us. If we have limited time, what should we do with it? And I'm not suggesting anything radical like everyone quit their jobs, go to the forest and start learning how to grow food. But at the same time, if we don't even question the way we are living our lives, and we just kind of go with the flow, but when the flow hits the waterfall point, then we all come crashing down, and it's not very fun at that time. So better to question right now. So even though we may not know how to grow food, at least we can learn the art of satisfaction. Because right now, we're not just a gig economy, we are a greed economy. This economy is fueled by human greed, which is completely out of control due to social media, TV, all of those things. It's just like everything is telling us more, more, more. So it's a very difficult situation to be in. We don't know how to be satisfied. The only way you learn how to be satisfied is to be around saintly people who know how to be satisfied. So you pick on that a little bit. But on by yourself, everything's just pushing you for more. So I'll pause there and ask you guys, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I resonate with that point that, like satisfaction is the key, and how to learn that is the is like one of the most important thing in today's day and age. Because there's like this is how the system is built, that uh, like the system wants to engage more with more and more and more, and expecting more out of it. So that's where like the intelligence is needed, that where to draw a line, and also say that in like, yeah, this is what I want, this is what I'm getting, and doing it in a right way also. Um, I think just keeping that reference of like doing everything for Krishna, uh, keeping that root, that why we are here, why we are doing what we are doing, and then like also accepting that like there are things that are in your control, there are things that are not, and then move on.
How's that going?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I think
How easy is it to move on?
it is. I think it's again. I think state of mind. I guess end of the day, uh,
I guess I'll,
like
I'll make
when
my question more specific. How easy is it to move on? And where are you moving on to?
like whatever you want to do like next in your life, like it can be a new career, it can be a new relationship, it can be anything new you want to do in your life. So moving on towards that, uh, uh, and then not expecting, I guess, anything out of it. It's like I don't know, like I'm saying multiple things here,
No, it's
but
okay.
but I
But I'm
think
actually
yeah,
questioning what you say. It's very juicy what you're saying. You're like moving on to new things. Yeah? Like,
yeah.
where has it? Have you seen it work? Moving on to.
No, I think yeah, you're right. I think I know what you're saying. Like it's not like changing one thing to other thing or other thing. Like it doesn't help. I think it's getting that satisfaction in what you have, or like at least realizing that this is how like things will continue to go, or there is some influence you have, there are some influences that you don't have, and having that central force in mind while doing things. So yeah.
You know what? Having that central force in mind. You know, in your mind, you can't hold anything. The mind
Hmm.
by nature is chanchala. Chanchala himana, Krishna Arjuna says, it goes from one thing to the other. So holding anything in the mind for too long is very difficult. Actually, it's extremely unreliable. So although we want to hold on to something in our mind, it doesn't stay. Which is why Krishna explains that we should chant the mantra. Like the mantra meditation we do, we chant it. We're saying it and we're hearing it. We're not holding it in our mind. There's a reason for that. The reason is you can't hold anything. Mind just goes from one thing to the other. The whole endeavor in human life is to get your mind to steady up on something. And the problem in that is most things are temporary. So you steady your mind on one person. Like I might want to steady my mind on my parents, or you might want to steady your mind on the job. The jobs will go, parents will go, friends will go, family will go. So the object you're trying to steady it on is temporary. Your mind by nature is flickering, right? So there's two problems. It's not just one problem, there's two problems. And then there is a challenge at every step. So the combination of all these makes it very hard to fixate your mind on anything. Um, Hence, one has to find that which does not change with time and stabilize our mind on that personality. Just like Parikshit Maharaj, he had to give up his kingdom. He gave up his kingdom. He gave up his family. He gave up everything in the last moment, and he started meditating on the Supreme Person. Just like Gabriella was sharing a little bit. If you don't mind, Gabriella, I'll quote you. You were saying like you have so many things going on. So many kids are needing something. You're cooking this, that, and the other. But then you're like, no, I'm going to have to do this. So in the same way, our mind's just going to go one place and the other. But then this living entity has to come to the point like, no, I'm going to have to do this. So then you sit and you chant and you read. The power of that is that you don't have to try and hold on to it. The meditation, the mantra, the knowledge, that itself helps lift you up. Like it's not a one-sided process. It's not like a going up process. It's kind of like I'll pick you up kind of process. Because by ourselves, holding on to something in our mind or going up is actually almost impossible. And unless there's help from the other side. And the mantra, the books like Bhagavad Gita, that's why they work, because they help you from the other side. They carry you more than you carry them. So otherwise the mind's so flickering. But I really appreciate, Devesh, what you said, because there was so much juice in there. And sorry that I'm kind of like tearing through it. I know you already know what I'm saying. I know you know that.
Yeah, I think you articulated it like very nicely. I think that's the thought that I had in mind, that like having that central thing. Because like world is changing, your mind is flickering.
Yeah,
So it's very hard. Like it's like both ways things are tearing apart. So it's
yeah,
it's
yeah.
it's a
You
difficult
need
situation.
association. You need
Yeah, yeah,
association. That's why we
yeah,
do these discussions, right? You need
yeah.
association to actually lift you up.
Yep.
You can get association to push you forward to achieve things materially, and
Hmm.
you can get association to help you also need association to help you to achieve things internally. Both ways
Hmm.
you need association. We're creatures of association. So very nice. Anybody else? Any thoughts?
This, like, this whole discussion is so interesting because I was listening to a lecture this morning by Prabhupada, and it's just like a continuation. Like, this class is just a continuation of this lecture. And I'm like, wow, the fact that I even like listened to that specific. Anyway,
What did you listen? Please share.
um,
It feel like a continuation.
so just going to one of the points that you were talking about of how like you can't hold anything in the mind because the mind is by nature flickering. No matter what we tell ourselves, we can tell ourselves. I was thinking about this the other day, like before, before actually practicing intentionally mantra meditation and reading um, steadily, even if it's like 1 page a day. Before I was doing that, like you can tell yourself, okay, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind, I'm not the body, I'm not the mind. At some point, you're gonna forget that. You're gonna forget that, and you're gonna be like, oh, I remember. There'll be moments where you're like, oh, I remember. But or at least what I failed to realize at that moment is the nature of the mind, which is that it's so flickering that you are still making decisions based on that illusion, even though you intellectually are saying, oh, I know I'm not the body, I know I'm not the mind, but then you're still making and over endeavoring to maintain these things when it's like, but I thought you knew this, you know? So
Right.
um, even talking about um, even talking about what was it? Oh, even talking about since the mind is so flickering and since the mind can't hold on to anything, that chanting and doing this mantra meditation, the Maha Mantra, and reading is by nature, it lifts you up. And it was saying, Prabhupada was saying that you don't have to do anything. You do not have to do anything. Just like it's just a law. It's just a law. It is a transcendental law. Just like fire. Fire, no matter if you're a baby, if you touch fire, you're going to be burned. You don't have to think about it. You don't have to try for it. You don't have to endeavor for the fire to burn you because that is the nature of the fire. Same thing with the mantra and same thing with the Bhagavad Gita and the Srimad Bhagavatam is naturally, just by nature, it has this essence that will lift you up no matter whether you can think about it or not, because we can't always think about it. We cannot always think about it.
Right.
Sometimes, like not sometimes, most times we just forget the things that we like. For me, I can say like I just spent so much time studying. I was just love studying, but and it's nice to know these things, but um actually remembering them and actually acting in that intelligence is so much harder,
Right.
especially if you don't know the nature of the mind.
Yeah, yeah, you actually bring a very good thought, like point to raise. You study so much, but do you actually apply it? Like, for example, Prabhupada had this discussion. He said, doesn't it say, "Thou shalt not kill"? Right? Then why do you eat animals? Like, it doesn't say, "Thou shalt not murder." It says, "Thou shalt not kill." That means it's applying to all living entities. Just like such a small thing, right? The difference between the word kill and murder. If you actually meditate on that, saying thou shalt not kill, then don't kill. Why do you maintain factory farms? Why do you run a world like that? What do you think? Why? So interesting, right? Just to your point.
Yeah, it is like
Go ahead.
no, I was just gonna say, yeah, it is interesting. Even just these very small, minute things that we
Right. Just the
think we can
color.
grasp,
Right.
but we really can't because we don't know the nature of the mind, and we need something to actually lift us up. Where we're just not qualified. We are not
Yeah.
qualified.
We just there's a knowledge filter in play, and this knowledge filter has like a cultural element, an emotional element. I actually noticed, like, just to hear something, like, we hear through a lot of emotions and drama. So someone might be saying something, but you're hearing something completely different because of all the filters in place. So we have so many filters in place. We read something, we think we understand it, but actually we can understand 1 plus 1 is 2, but we don't understand human beings and emotions and relationships, and the world doesn't work on 1 plus 1 is 2. So yeah, it's a very tricky situation. My summary, like, after I could give you, I did so much research on this whole hustle culture thing. Like, there is such a thing as people suffer from is imposter syndrome because of all the pressure that it puts on you. Have you guys heard of the imposter syndrome? Anybody?
Yeah.
Yeah, you have. Anybody else who has heard? Nobody. It's like a psychological phenomena where individuals doubt their abilities, skills, and achievements, even if they have it. They feel like frauds, despite evidence that there is competence. So the facts are showing that you're competent, but you feel like you're fraud. And it gives you. I kind of wrote down the names of famous people who suffer from this kind of imposter syndrome, and I'll just give you some statistics. Studies show that 70% of people experience imposter syndrome at some point in their lives, including prominent figures like Albert Einstein, Michelle Obama. There's another name here, Maya Angelou. I don't know who that is. Do you guys know who that is?
Poet.
Mangal-Arti, that's crazy. You don't know who Maya Angelou
I just exposed myself in front of everybody. Who is it?
She is a wonderful, wonderful, very powerful writer, poet, speaker.
Really? I'm
Yeah.
sorry, I'm so in touch.
No,
I gotta
I'll
look it
send you some
up.
stuff. Don't worry.
Yeah,
Go
yeah.
ahead.
Like summary stuff. But Albert Einstein, Michelle Obama, I know, like, come on, nobody, Albert Einstein could think like that. But actually, it's not a matter that you actually lack the ability. It is what the system, the society does to you. There's something missing in you, that's why you can't perform. So you get this kind of the reaction. I just don't know enough. I'm not good enough, or like that kind of thing that holds you back. So I came to the conclusion, and from seeing all the saintly people that I've had the good fortune of seeing and meeting in my life, and from carefully observing their lifestyles, and from studying the Bhagavad Gita, my conclusion is that goods there will never be enough of. Opportunities there will never be enough of. Wealth, relationships there will never be enough of. But what you can do, you can learn the art of satisfaction. Instead of a class on the art of happiness, we should have a class on the art of satisfaction. If you can learn to be satisfied, that is the greatest wealth you can have in this world. You will go through this world so happy if you can learn to be satisfied. You can have everything but not be satisfied. And you can have very little and be completely satisfied if you're trained on how to do. And I actually really feel gratitude for Srila Prabhupada, because he showed a very simple kind of a lifestyle. Wake up at early in the morning, chant the Hare Krishna mantra, cook what you're eating, offer it to the Supreme Lord, stay clean, wear clean clothes, keep your hair clean, keep your body clean, keep your bed clean, keep everything clean. And if you have to keep things clean, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of time to maintain moral goodness. And chant about Krishna, read about Krishna, and then invite other people to chant and read about Krishna. And that's it. You can get through life just by that, without needing anything else. Now this, it's so hard to understand and accept that this is enough, because all these things are put into us, that you have to achieve this, you have to be this person. I remember one person who was, I was working with for some time, like was trying to spiritually work on their things, and they wanted to step away because they told me, I remember, they said, I really want to be able to pay bills. I want to have that feeling of getting bills and being able to pay it. And I was thinking about it, I was like, wow, it's such a programming that if you're not paying bills, you don't feel like you're a man enough, or you're not a woman enough, or something like that. In this case, it was a man. But